Hi, everybody. Sam here. I am so excited to be here with my new friend Jess. We've been having a little bit of a conversation before I hit record, and you are in for a treat today. She helps people with their passion, learning to do what they were meant to do. And if you've been around here for a while, you know that that's so important to me to create a business and a life that loves you back. And she could have words of wisdom that could impact your ability to do just that. We are here for a micro interview. And whether you're here for the first time or coming back, we're glad you're here. And maybe something that Jess or I share today could actually help you, that one choice at a time that I always talk about. Maybe there's going to be something you learned today that could be the thing that helps you get from where you're at to where you want to be. So, Jess, I would love for you to introduce yourself and just share a little bit about what I call your superhero origin story.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me, Sam. This is a really beautiful container you've created. And I love this word or this term, superhero origin story. So my work is in helping other women entrepreneurs. I use the term soulpreneurs a lot because I really want to help women express their purpose and the bigger vision of why they're here, their big vision, bring it to life through the lens of entrepreneurship, which I think is the greatest container that I know of for personal growth. Um, maybe outside of parenthood, but I don't have children. So I would say entrepreneurship for me has been massive. And when I think about my superhero origin story, it's not one big thing that happened to me. I haven't overcome one huge um, obstacle or anything, but it's been a series of events that have brought me more and more into alignment with who I'm here to be and given me more clarity around my purpose, which is, it turns out, to help other women create and expand their purpose out in the world. So for me, it's looked like having a job. This was, gosh, more than 12 years ago, having corporate jobs that I really didn't like, and doing all the people pleasing society expectation things of having a good job and making a salary, and getting really burnt out and getting fired from the only sort of corporate job I've ever had, and using that as an opportunity to really, I would say, go towards the biggest value in my life, which is freedom. And that is a value that I know I share with most entrepreneurs. All the women I talk to, they talk about freedom, and that might mean something different to all of us. But for me back then, especially, it was really about wanting to travel, wanting to have the freedom of my own schedule, to do what I wanted to do on a daily basis, to work when I wanted to work and from where I wanted to work. So using my being laid off as an opportunity to jump into self-employment. I've never really looked back, but on that path of self-employment over 12 plus years, there have been lots of winding turns and ultimately, again, it's been a path of self-discovery so much, where I see like everything that happens in my business is a reflection of what's happening on the inside, what's happening elsewhere in my life and in my psyche. So yeah, for me, it's looked like starting a freelancing business as a graphic designer, doing lots of work for different kinds of clients, which also left me very burnt out. And then realizing that what I needed to do was focus more on a niche. I know it's a word not a lot of us like, but there's so much value in being clear about who you want to serve and how you want to serve them. So starting to work with women entrepreneurs about 10 years ago and moving away from design work and more into coaching, seeing the way that people need to be supported holistically when they're building a really purpose-driven business. I would say like a personal brand. There's so much, there's so much to uncover there, right? It's not just like, I need a website and I need a marketing plan. It's like, I need to be comfortable and confident speaking about my gifts, and pricing is something that triggers a lot of people. And there's just so many roadblocks that we hit as, I would say, women, especially creating these
So true.
brands. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mentioned before we hit record that I also own an admin company. So when you're talking about the graphic design stuff and how it leaves you exhausted, we have about 30 clients across the country, and uh, I've been doing this for 6 years, and I love them. I love my clients, I love my team, and the mental exhaustion for me, having
Mm.
all these clients as I'm trying to help them with their business, it's really a lot. Imagine everything in your brain of you trying to create your own business and keep it going. Plus, then you add in the responsibility of all the other clients, and
Yeah.
it's a lot. And I take the job seriously, right? We're not a traditional VA company, like where you're just having somebody implement. If you
Mhm.
need a VA and truly just need somebody to implement, it's not going to be us. You can find somebody for a lot less money. But if you
Mm.
want somebody with big picture brain power and being able to create the systems and processes, yes. And so I have a great team, and they um, manage most of the clients. There's only 4 clients that I still work with really one on one, and
Mm.
just narrowing it down to 4 is a lot still. And
Yeah.
so we're actually in the middle. This video won't go out for a little while, but I'm launching something on August 18th. So by the time this goes out, it will have already, y'all can go and look it up. I'm launching something that I've been working on for a very long time, and I didn't plan on talking about this today, but you
Oh.
mentioned it. But this is going to allow me as a business owner to have a new top of funnel for both of my businesses, for my admin company and Safe Art Connections.
Mm.
It's something I've been working on literally for years, and finally it's coming to life. And I'm so stinking excited. It's called the Gratitude Blueprint, and
Mhm.
I'm going to be hosting a half-day workshop where I help small business owners understand how they can keep their clients longer and get more referrals. And when they attend this workshop, they will literally have everything they need to do what I'm showing them. It's
Mm.
There are going to be some options to continue, but if they pay for this workshop, they're going to have everything they need.
Wow.
So top of funnel for me is, say you decide we hadn't met before, and you
Mhm.
come in and decide you want to do the half day workshop, and I get to see you and know who you are, you get to know me and trust me, then I can message you and say, hey, I'd love to interview you for my micro interview series for Safe Art Connections. And that puts you on that path. And
Mhm.
oh my gosh, my brain, it's just beautiful. And so the the way that we structure our lives around what we want it to be, the freedom piece that you're talking about and the purpose, if I could be known for one thing, it would be gratitude. And
Mm.
so now I get to do that, and it feeds both of my businesses. And so, ladies, if you're not where you're wanting to be yet, talk to somebody like Jess. Like, I have coaches and people I work with that have helped me navigate all this. But if you don't be afraid to reach out and talk to somebody that, like, this is what she does,
Yeah.
right? And so, yeah, so I'm glad today. It's no accident that we're talking today.
Yeah. Fortuitous.
I just working on finishing up some of the stuff to start the actual promotion. So I would love for you to share a thought, tip, or piece of advice with the ladies listening or watching that you think might improve their life in one way or
Yeah. Well, yeah. Speaking of fortuitous, I just had a really powerful conversation with my coach this morning that reminded me what you're saying. I think the most important thing is to be clear on our values when we're going into creating a business. And this is, what I feel like I learned the hard way in a lot of ways on my journey. If I was to tell you my whole entrepreneurial journey, it'd be a very long story. Um, overall, I would say I've learned to like really put my values at the forefront of everything I do in the offers that I launch, like you're doing, in the audience that I attract, in the copy, the content I create, everything. Because otherwise, like I wasn't doing that at the beginning of my business, and it just left me so exhausted. Like we were saying, like spinning my wheels and sure making money, but not serving people in the way that's most aligned with who I am. So there's lots of ways to do that. I think, yeah, it's really hard to do it on your own. So working with coaches has always been super invaluable to me. And I hope that I bring that same value to people. Um, so I'd say it's like knowing your values and just knowing yourself. On the other side of the values coin, I think is the shadow work. And we have to understand our shadows, fears, limitations, and move towards those in a safe way to really get to the growth. And this is with life and business. Like I said, entrepreneurship is an amazing container for growth, but it's all connected. This is why I use the term holistic a lot in my work, because what I really help people with is business focus, but it impacts everything because it's all connected.
It's all interconnected for sure. Yeah, we're definitely in alignment. As part of when the women come into Safe Heart Connections, um, part of what I want them to do is start to learn who they are. That's when they start to recognize that maybe they're dealing with a self-worth issue or a lack of self-worth or self-love or any of those things. And so I host a retreat once a year,
Mm,
and possibly starting next year, my goal is to have three. It'll be the same retreat. We're different, so you'd only come once, but
yeah.
it's called Who Are You? And literally I go through a process so that at the beginning, you start to identify who you are, what matters to you, what causes matter to you, how you want to show up in the world, what it's going to cost if you don't, and then a 90-day action plan of actually living out who you say you want to be. And when
Mm,
you can start making choices from that framework, and it sounds like you teach something very similar, or at least you weave that into part of what you do, knowing
yeah.
who you are. For so many women, we shut that side down of us. We don't know who we are.
Yeah.
Do you remember the movie Pretty Woman?
Yeah.
No, it wasn't Pretty Woman. It was Runaway Bride.
Oh,
And they
yeah.
asked her how she liked her eggs.
Uh-huh.
And she didn't know because she always had her eggs the same way as the person she had been with. And so she had to experiment and figure out how she liked her eggs. So
Mm.
ladies, if you don't know how you like your eggs, if you don't, if you had $50 and you could go take yourself out to eat for a nice meal by yourself, where would you go? A
Mm,
lot of women, they wouldn't know, they wouldn't know. What
yeah.
would you do if you had 1 hour just to yourself that you
Mm,
could not do something for somebody else, couldn't be work related, and you had 1 hour, what would you do?
mm.
And if you don't know the answers to those questions, I think somebody like Jess could be somebody good to talk to.
Yeah,
So,
that brings up the idea of like conditioning. I work with clients. I usually start my work with clients by looking at their human design, which is a system that I think is really helpful in understanding who we are, or just like a jumping off point. And this idea of, yeah, conditioning, like how have we gotten away from who we're truly meant to be, who we truly are at our core because of all the layers of conditioning, like you're saying, being around other people who, especially as women, we're caregivers, often nurturers, we take on the desires and the needs of everybody else. And then society, our culture, our family, there's so many layers that we have to kind of, and it's an ongoing process. I think I'm always doing this for myself and working with people, but of unlayering that onion to get to the core of
yeah,
what's really
who
important.
were we before the world told us who we were supposed to
Yeah.
be?
Yeah, I love that quote. Yeah.
Yeah, so if somebody is listening and maybe they understand that they could possibly benefit from digging in on a little bit about who they are, do you
Mhm.
have maybe one little baby step of something that they could do to start that process?
Yeah. Well, like again, I'm a big fan of tools when they're useful. I don't want anybody to feel like they're put into a box, but I love human design. It's an amalgamation of like astrology and I Ching and the chakra system. So on my website, I have, you can download your chart for free. It's based on the time you were born. And I think looking at that, even if it's just like the high level information is like your energy type, but it's which is like how your energy is meant to be in the world. You can go so much deeper with it. And I do readings for people and integrate into my coaching. But if you're looking for a tool or a starting point, obviously there's a million ways, right? Like journaling is great, meditation, for what we're talking about. But if you want something that's a little bit, holistic and um, science and spirituality merged together, human design
That's
is a really
great.
cool. You can go as deep as you
Yeah.
want.
So I'll make sure that ladies, wherever you're watching or listening, there'll be links to get connected to Jess. Her website will be one of those things so that you can take that. Is it a quiz or an assessment? What do you call it?
It's just entering your birth data and getting
Oh,
your chart. So it's kind of again like an astrology chart, but I think it's a little bit easier to understand. And you can, yeah, and I also have lots of freebies on my website for going a little bit deeper with human design, or if you're thinking about being an entrepreneur, you are an entrepreneur, how this idea of knowing who we are starts to integrate with like branding and content creation, and how we can really step fully into who we're meant to be within our business. But yeah, they can start with the human
So
design.
good.
Super easy.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. I'll make sure that the links are all around the video or the audio, wherever they're watching or listening. Do you have any closing thoughts before we wrap up today?
Um, oh, just that you're, I want to use the word frequency. Like when you're true to your own frequency, you attract the people that you're meant to do life with, right? And then from a business standpoint, that means really soul-aligned clients. So again, knowing who you are and just every day, like tapping into that frequency of what you're here to share and who you're here to be, makes everything else so much easier. We don't have to really complicate business growth with lots of intricate strategy. It just comes down to being yourself and emitting that frequency every day. So I hope that's helpful for people.
That's very, very helpful, and I agree. So I'm not going to add anything to it. I'm just going to say that was wonderful. Jess, I'm so excited to be connected to you, and I'm sure we'll see you around more in the future. Cannot wait for this to air so that all the ladies can get connected to you. And remember that knowing who they are is important. Because if you don't know who you are, you cannot create a life or a business you love or that loves you back, because it will be chaos. And I know for sure because I've done it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'll
Thanks,
see you
Sam.
soon.
That's good.